In a world filled with uncertainties, it's easier to focus more on finding answers to the wrong questions. Our competitive environment causes many factors that influence our survival to depend on us asking the right questions. Being inquisitive enhances the creative mind and teaches us to challenge the status quo. Many people do not live or work in places that make them want to question things. By asking more and better questions, we might be able to get completely different answers, yet we don't consider this enough. Those who are bold enough to ask daring questions have been able to provide answers that have shaped the world. For example, when Michael Dell noticed that a computer costs 5 times more than the sum of its parts, he came up with a brilliant idea. In the past, he took apart computers and noticed $600 worth of computer parts and accessories within those $3,000 units. With that, he thought about why a computer should cost so much. With that question in mind, he designed a business model that made computers more affordable and made Dell a big name in the computer business. The information in this bite-sized summary of a great book is ideal for leaders of organizations. Hal Gregersen has shed more light on how to ask the right questions, and it's why his book is one of the many leadership books accountants should read right now. Our Questions Are the Answer is a 2018 Nautilus Book Awards silver winner, and MIT News, Fast Company, Harvard Business Review, and the Wall Street Journal are just some of the sources that have featured the book. People can find better answers when they understand the importance of asking questions. Anyone can learn to become better at asking questions. Those who know how to ask outstanding questions aren't naturally unique or different. Instead, they just put in more time honing their asking abilities. To ask insightful questions, try to think about things from a youngster's viewpoint when curiosity is normal and doesn't elicit any mistrust. This way, great questioners are like children because they think with a beginner's mentality. The most effective strategy to increase desired behavior is to provide the circumstances for it to occur spontaneously. The concept of competent questioning conjures up images of imagination and forward thinking. As seen by the many questions they ask in interviews, innovators have a high question-to-answer ratio, evident in the series of questions they ask compared to the number of responses they offer. Appropriate questions aid in developing insights and answers to the difficulties individuals face. When the correct question is asked, significant discoveries and increased cognition often result. Great questions also encourage individuals to think more creatively and originally, but wrong inquiries will only lead to gradual improvement, especially if the right ones are not asked. For example, Albert Einstein developed his seminal theory of relativity after questioning the broad idea of time posed by the concept of time. His quest for answers concerning the nature of time resulted in discoveries that profoundly impacted theoretical and practical physics and astronomy. In many cases, focusing on answers to predefined questions is appropriate. Periods of good response must follow a good inquiry. It is a requirement for successful communication. However, the goal is not to live in a condition of continual questioning, but to constantly take a step back to ponder things before making a decision. Nonetheless, answering yesterday's questions is inadequate when we are stuck, when inventiveness is needed, or when change must be applied more often. For example, Albert Einstein developed his seminal theory of relativity after questioning the broad idea of time posed by the concept of time. His quest for answers concerning the nature of time resulted in discoveries that profoundly impacted theoretical and practical physics and astronomy. In many cases, focusing on answers to predefined questions is appropriate. Periods of good response must follow a good inquiry. It is a requirement for success. Communication. However, the goal is not to live in a condition of continual questioning, but to constantly take a step back to ponder things before making a decision. Nonetheless, answering yesterday's questions is inadequate when we are stuck, when inventiveness is needed, or when change must be applied more often. Did you know, according to a 2019 study by Harvard Business Review, curious people accounted for over 90% of new business ideas? The best questions are explosive because they ruin incorrect assumptions. Great questions play a pivotal role in discovering fresh ideas. They try to find answers to existing issues and mainstream thinking. As therapist consultant Marilee Adams puts it, learning to ask the proper question is like unlocking the code on change. George Eastman, born in 1854, created the Eastman Kodak Company in his mid-20s. Kodak's story is a fine example of excellent questions leading to great answers. Back in the day, photography required a lot of gear and skill, and it was only available to professionals and dedicated amateurs. Eastman's main objective as a young company was to make photography accessible to the masses. So, he and his colleagues undertook a considerable investigation and created the first reasonably simple-to-use Kodak camera in 1888. Amateur photographers no longer needed to master a complicated method to produce their images. Instead, consumers could ship their cameras to Eastman Kodak, where technicians processed the film and returned printed images after shooting a whole 100-shot roll of film. Encouraging youngsters to ask questions allows them to learn more and be creative. Kodak produced the $1 Brownie camera in 1900, which was simple enough for a young kid to operate yet sturdy enough for soldiers to carry into battle. George Eastman, the game changer, had addressed his question and, in the process, transformed photography. Yet, despite the obvious significance of inquiries like Eastman's, adults often fail to challenge the status quo. Unfortunately, this is something many children acquire in school that dampens their desire to be interested and ask questions. The current educational system is designed to provide learners with complete knowledge. It is not normally expected of students to dispute such fundamental information. When teenagers join the labor market or military, everything becomes more uniform, queries are frowned upon, and information is strictly controlled. In today's culture, asking questions is typically associated with presenting power rather than pursuing new ideas. In most give-and-take conversations, inquiries have little to do with expanding one's knowledge. To overcome this, you must first acknowledge your present condition of doubt, then ask more probing questions. Instead of brainstorming the perfect answers, we should attempt to brainstorm the best questions. Those who thrive in purposeful questioning create situations that make them feel uncertain, and while this may seem unusual, it helps in the long run. One way to understand this is to engage in things and be in locations where you may be openly ignorant. This sort of gathering, assembling, and analyzing data to assess your position becomes routine. For example, take a pottery or needlepoint class to watch your clumsy fingers, or a dance class to see how your feet move. Conventional group discussions look for ways to solve problems. To get your team excited and help them think of new ideas, think about brainstorming for the best questions. Questions have a curious power to unlock new insights and positive behavior change in every part of our lives. To keep their creative curiosity, inquisitive individuals realize they must prod themselves. CEO Tony H. Sitch set up questioning spaces at Zappos to encourage creative collisions, a form of healthy rivalry among his employees, who then came up with new ideas. This practice aligned with his vision for a better way to run a business, which he called holacracy. As he saw it, holacracy is a way for people who want to work together to stay in touch with each other for a long time. Such a setting encourages the kind of questions that lead to new answers. Move out of your comfort zone and ask probing questions to be more aware. When a team is talking about a question, it can use these 3 steps to start the conversation. Surprise, people are excited when new experiences make them think about things in new ways. Distraction, everybody has habits that stifle new ideas. When you get distracted, a new problem-solving path can help you think more clearly about the problem. Conflict, it doesn't matter how you look at things. According to Jacob W. Getzels and Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who wrote about the concept of flow, new visions, feelings, or ideas can help people come up with new ideas. You can't learn if you're always talking. Instead, ask questions, be silent, and listen. The key to National Geographic photographer Sam Abel's success is that he doesn't capture images, he creates them. He takes his father's advice to compose himself while waiting, which is excellent advice for anybody who wants to ask good questions. Instead of asking questions to push views and understanding, employ questions that organically come. Then, after you've asked your question, be silent so you can hear and comprehend the responses. Your questions will carry greater weight the more essential they are, because the repercussions of your inquiry on a key topic could be enormous. Open-mindedness makes it easier to gain additional knowledge, no matter how small it is. Consider the worldwide impact of Rachel Carson's 1962 book Silent Spring, which informed the public about pesticide risks. Like many other great thinkers, Carson utilized big questions to draw attention to significant issues. Her inquiries served as spurs for the growth of the worldwide environmental movement. Carson impacted the world with her tremendous questions. Rose Marcario, a professional in private equity, got trapped in New York City traffic congestion while on her way to a fundraising meeting. Through her limousine window, she saw a mentally ill individual roaming about in the center of the street while looking out the limousine window. Marcario was unconcerned by this wanderer's problems because she needed to go somewhere. However, the more she looked at the individual, the more she became aware of her reflection in the limousine glass. It affected her, as she seemed stiff, agitated, and annoyed, just like the mentally ill person across the street. Marcario urged the limousine driver to stop because she was concerned about how she suddenly perceived herself. She took a stroll in Central Park in search of tranquility and wondered who she had turned into and if her current life was the definition of success. These catalytic questions had a profound impact on her life. At that moment, she decided to leave her well-paid career to figure out what she'd do with her life to create an experience worthwhile and how she could contribute to making the world a better place. She joined Patagonia, a fashion industry, and quickly rose through the ranks to become CFO and later CEO. She became the company's inspiring environmental advocate in only 5 years because she was happier doing what she loved. She discovered that just talking is insufficient. You must be able to back up your words with deeds. Like Marcario did, asking questions will always lead you to the root of any confusion you might have. It's critical to ask keystone questions at the right time. Keystone questions are the kinds of questions that individuals ask themselves when they wish to improve their personal lives. For example, asking yourself what you want to do next after school or how you plan to get your dream job are essential questions. As your circumstances change, you will be required to respond to a fresh set of crucial questions. These questions will assist you in navigating your way through life. For example, Steve Jobs often reflected in the mirror and questioned himself if today was the final day of his life. Would he want to accomplish what he was going to do? The important and difficult job is never to find the right answers, it is to find the right question. Great questioners are known for having dispositions that are both reflective and insightful. Asking the right questions is an excellent approach to demonstrating humility. If you are incorrect in your replies, be determined to continue seeking the most satisfactory solution. Being wrong is not bad, because acceptance is the first step to learning something new. A willingness to be incorrect implies that you will keep attempting to discover the correct answers to the questions you pose to yourself. Individuals who feel they are always correct often give up on their pursuit of solutions because they do not believe they can ever be incorrect. If you think you can't be wrong, you will be unable to influence the world. Outstanding questions lead to excellent answers when they are part of a personal journey, so make an effort to ask the appropriate questions, maintain the concept of asking pertinent questions, and instilling the importance of inquiry in young people, particularly since they will be the ones who shape the world in the coming years. Great questioners are constantly in need of assisting society in developing new ideas. People who ask big questions change the world, and this is a fact. Everyone will probably ask more in-depth questions than before if we learn to ask the right ones. We must become more conscious and skilled at questioning to improve our creative skills. Asking the right questions provides us with the opportunity to focus on the things that are most important to us. Some of the solutions you want in life will be about your plans and what you want to accomplish with your life. Unfortunately, it is very common for individuals to labor themselves to exhaustion on a route, only to learn after reflection that they have been on the wrong path all along. Therefore, regularly checking in with yourself is critical to ensure you continue accomplishing the things essential to you. Additionally, you will have the opportunity to ask further questions, which will assist you in dealing with the world's most serious challenges. Finding the right questions, rather than merely the best answers, should be the focus of one's life, and you should be able to do both tasks. The question regarding our purpose in life to which we attempt to provide a solution has evolved significantly throughout time. It used to be restricted and time-bound, which was wonderful. However, our objectives should be short-term and quantifiable, but they should not be our primary purpose for being. Substantial questions must be long-lasting, sturdy, and resilient enough to overcome setbacks and failures to be considered decisive. Try this. Make a list of the most important things in your life, and ask yourself deep questions about how you achieved them and how you will make the best of your time to achieve your goals. Doing this will help you become more focused and creative,